So I just talked about this book here in the previous video. It is for grade 2 elementary. It's got the three main subjects, Japanese, arithmetic, and life studies. Life studies is a mixture of social studies and sciences for the young kids. And it's got work prints for each of those subjects that you can go through. In the previous video, we talked about the life studies one. So there's 16 different prints. We're still working our way through. And there's also 24 Japanese prints and 36 arithmetic prints. I guess the arithmetic ones are a lot easier to make, which is why there's so many more of them than even the Japanese ones, which the Japanese ones would, you would actually spend more time on Japanese than in school than the arithmetic. But let's take a look at what the arithmetic ones are like, because that is the next, probably the next test that my son's going to take. And it depends on, I guess, our progress with the science subject as well. But the math one we're already signed up for. The grade 2 equivalent. The level 10 is what it is, which he took previously and almost passed. One point off. So let's take a look. What kinds of things? So sometimes these are messy, but it starts really easy, just like counting, and then learning clocks and how many minutes are in an hour and how to calculate hours and minutes. Being able to add and subtract slightly larger numbers, read some simple problems. So this is, I'd say mostly at this point, it is grade 1, sort of like going over the things that you already learned in grade 1. And then we have this, I think, is where it actually gets to grade 2 material. The, what do you call it when you, it's hisung, but when you have the one number on top and one number on bottom, so you can add or subtract vertically. And if you know, one, if you need to borrow or add a number to the tens or the hundreds or whatever, this sort of thing. And we go on to do a lot more of that actually with both plus and minus in here. So I'll just like quickly go through. And then every few times there is a sort of a test check. So you see at 26 and 36, we also have these sort of checks. There's also checks in the other subjects as well. These dark red ones, 24, 16, 8 for the Japanese, and 16, 10, and 6 for life studies. But I think the life studies ones aren't really as much checks as they are just, new, going over slightly new things. So then in the next section, so the math one, the first would have been around 8. Where would 8 be? Something like here. The next section, we kind of learn lengths and learn how to use a ruler, measure things, centimeters and millimeters. We learn to count over 100. We learn sort of patterns of increasing, like if there's a certain amount of dots between one number and another number, each of those dots represents what exactly. It's kind of that sort of thought. And then sorry about that. And then, understanding greater than or less than. Let's see what else we have here. So adding, subtracting larger numbers. And then we have liters and deciliters and milliliters. So deciliters, I was kind of surprised that they're using deciliters, because in normal conversation, milliliters and liters, so these come up all the time, but deciliters, almost never hear anybody talking in deciliters. So, what is it? 100 milliliters would be a deciliter, and 10 deciliters would be a liter. So I think I got that right. If I didn't, I'm going to be embarrassed, but let's just move on. Here we have more of the larger adding and subtracting. Similar sort of things go on for a few more, and it's actually quite hard to get him to sit down and do all this sometimes. But here we go. Page 19, another check we have. So understanding the lengths, the liters and milliliters and deciliters, and the adding and subtracting greater than, less than. And then we get into angles, triangles, right angles, and all those sorts of things. And there's a lot of sheets here that I still haven't actually taken out of the book. So let's see. Next, we will be getting into one of the things that gave him a lot of trouble last time he took the test, which is multiplication. We didn't go over this very well last time, so I'm hoping we'll be starting this very soon. And I'm hoping to be able to explain it to him better, because I think he can do multiplication, but it's not really ingrained in his memory yet, and sometimes he'll still make mistakes, which was problematic. So then they continue to go over different forms of multiplication. These in grade 2, I think it's only up to 9 times 9, and then they do the bigger numbers once you get to grade 3, like 100 times 94 or something, or 93 times 87 or something like that in grade 3, right? But for now, it's just the up to 9 times 9. Oh, I guess I was kind of wrong, because they have, let me get this in frame, they have 12 times 11 over here. So it's not only 9 times 9, but it's probably not going over 12 anyway. So, and then another check here with the tests, the angles and multiplication mainly. Then we have more lengths. There's one that he already did. It's crumpled up because he threw it away once. This one was pretty easy, so I had him do it, but he still threw it away. More patterns, greater than, less than, lengths, a few word problems. And this is, I would say, mostly sort of a combination of the stuff that you already went over at this point. Being able to add and subtract and see less than or greater than, angles, measurements. And we actually have some fractions here too. So basic fractions, I think you learn at the end of the second year. They might be on the test a little bit, but probably not too much. And then here we have shapes, so 5 centimeters all around is a cube, and a longer box over here. So rectangle shapes, the how a dice or a die would fold out. So understanding like shapes. And then in the end, we go over these shapes again, the lengths, the amounts, and some fractions too. So that's basically what it would be this time. A lot of there's quite a bit of material to cover, but I think my son at age 6 understands most of it for now, but we still have to get that multiplication down so he'll be able to pass the test no problem next time. Anyway, I'll go over the Japanese section next in this book, just very briefly like this, explain what kind of things they go over in grade 2, and expect that a lot of this would appear on the test as well. Anyway, remember to like, subscribe, and level up.